a jade seal suspended in the sky, a metaphor for the order that gives weight to the invisible. The Jade Emperor appears as the central symbol of the episode, sovereign of the celestial court, arbiter of winds, rains, and destinies, president of an immense bureaucracy of heaven. A tall crown, carved dragons, decreed tablets behind, assistants and scribes with cloud brushes. Its origins are rooted in religious Taoism and popular worship, condensing the Chinese experience of an administered cosmos, where each function has its office, seal, and procedure. In temples, bells mark hearings as if they were public sessions. On domestic altars, lamps and incense notify petitions, analogous to official processes. Interesting fact: the logic of earthly imperial examinations echoes in celestial ones. Even the gods are accountable. Seasonal festivals renew appointments and merit reports, reminding us that the weather also obeys divine seals. If the Jade Emperor rules the throne room of the firmament, who writes the laws behind the throne? Where is the original principle that gives legitimacy to his orders written?
At the top of the metaphysical web rest the three pure ones: Yuanxi Tianzin, primordial lord; Lingbao Tianzin, numinous treasure; and Dao De Tianzin, Lao Tzu, as the apex. They administer, they establish the principle. They possess virtues such as purity, timelessness, and pedagogical compassion. Each emanates texts, breaths, and talismans that organize the world even before matter takes form. In liturgies, bells, fragrant woods, and silk sutras mark readings of foundational decrees. Iconography depicts them serene, inscribed in ethereal palaces. This means that the universe is not born of whim, but rather from levels of subtle order that descend like luminous regulations. Local traditions elevate Lao Tzu to this apex, fusing philosophy and worship, book and altar. The people intuitively perceive that the heavenly law precedes the heavenly throne. If this trio represents primordial harmony, a crystalline balance of Tao at rest, then where does the friction that drives the legends begin? What is the spark that ushers in conflict, growth, and adventure?
Compassion is a beacon that pierces the fog. Mazu, goddess of the sea, stands as an omen of care and return. Reeds in storm, fishermen waving, lanterns finding their way home, robed in red and gold, with a beaded crown, her serene gaze fixed on the salty horizon. She was a young woman from Fujian who, in visions, saved sailors. Sanctified by the people and recognized by emperors, she became the protector of ports, islands, and migrations. In rituals, drums, naval flags, processions with the statue on board, incense sails on the wind as a request for escort, a rare curiosity. Captains carried plaques with her name as spiritual insurance. Coastal shops hang talismans with maps of protected routes. From Southeast Asian ports to Chinatowns, Mazu is the emotional GPS of migrant communities, the virtue that helps without bargaining. But where there is virtue, there is temptation. The strength that protects can also challenge hierarchies. Then arises the youthful flame that questions celestial protocols, the incendiary energy that overthrows tyrants and dragons before learning direction.
Rebellious spark in the palace courtyard. Nezha spins wheels of fire under his feet, winds crimson ribbons, and hurls the cosmic ring against abuses, from tyrants to dragons. His nature is ambiguous, a holy warrior and an iconoclastic teenager, a rebel against his own celestial family before being reborn disciplined for a greater mission. In Feng Xin Yan Yi, Nezha's Via Crucis ranges from sacrifice to return, from chaos to responsibility. Dolls, Cosplay, series, games, and films reintroduce him as an icon of autonomy, the courage to remake one's own body and destiny. On popular altars, sweets, ribbons, and toys soothe his temper. Fun fact: offerings of mini-wheels or skates activate his protective movement. His magnetism seduces. It is rebellion that inspires, but also risks burning bridges. Some seduce with freedom, others frighten with their all-seeing gaze. The stage darkens. The growl of a celestial dog is heard. The curtain rises for the illusion hunter, whose primary weapon is not a blade, but a third eye that pierces disguises.
Open the third eye, and deception is dispelled. Erlang thrusts his halberd. The third eye blazes. The celestial dog growls. His iconic image condenses contained fear. Not unbridled dread, but terror tamed by vigilance. Hero god who dominates floods, captures shape-shifting demons, and, in theatrical versions, confronts even the Monkey King. There are talismans with the watchful eye, amulets against possession, and illusions that shed their skin. In dramas and plays, Erlang hovers as a supernatural auditor, shattering masks with a glance. Temples display guardian dogs in training, a reminder that fidelity sniffs out the false. Here, collective fear is treated, identifying the disguise before evil infiltrates. Communities consult his iconography to test seductive promises. After fear comes fortune. Not coincidentally, the crowd also asks for a favorable balance sheet at the end of the month. The stage lights up with golden banners. The patron saint of income flows, and open opportunities enters.
Weakness becomes strength. Poverty becomes offering. Offering calls for abundance. Caishen advances with treasure scrolls, ingots, auspicious couplets, and banners. The story goes that Zhao Gongming, martial face, Bi Gan, righteous minister, and other variants converge on the archetype of just prosperity. Posters on boxes, stickers on food trucks, corporate memes of blessed quarters. Couplets during the Lunar New Year. The rite of this deity says that at dawn on the 5th day, doors open to receive wealth. Fireworks dispel stagnation. Interesting fact, shopkeepers adjust the angle of the statue to pull customers, as if aligning feng shui with human flow. Wealth is a guardian when it circulates. It becomes a wonder when it rots. In the episode's soundtrack, Caishen functions as an emotional checkpoint, a promise that effort, networking, and merit find their way. But before the modern craze, fortunately, there were northern roots. A warrior mystic of the cold waters who purifies with thunder and sword, planting firmness where fear floods.
Turtle and serpent entwined under divine boots, a living mural of the cosmic north, deep waters, winter, constancy. Xuanwu is the constellation and the principle. Zhenwu, its warrior face that expels miasmas and demons. The cults of the north combined hydraulic protection, military discipline, and thunder talismans, treading on the inner serpent, greed, fear, and establishing oneself as a mountain. Talismanic sword, seals with diagrams, doors painted with the animal couple repelling plagues. Murals in Taoist monasteries, game bosses, tattoos that evoke resistance and longevity. Interesting fact, in villages, nocturnal rituals trace lightning symbols to weld spiritual fissures. Art here is the engineering of the invisible. If ritual dominates the currents, who translates all this into living traditions? Flags, drums, oaths, markets, and everyday justice. The figure that embodies applied loyalty is missing,
a blade that cuts through doubts and reflects the face of the one who wields it, stitching together moral contracts between equals.
Loyalty is the blade that reflects the face of its wielder. Guan Yu, general in the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, becomes Guan Di, patron of justice, mercantile fraternity, and codes of honor. Dark green beard, heavy Guan Dao, straight gaze that refuses to compromise with betrayal. In temples of merchants, police, and sworn societies, oaths before his altar seal moral contracts. To this day, people hold neighborhood processions, display banners, mediate disputes, and bless store openings. Interesting fact, stores place his image facing the street to cut off dishonesty at the threshold. In the dramaturgy of the episode, he completes the circuit, from the Jade Seal, order, to the Guan Blade, law incarnate. Festivals, opera marathons, fan conventions, and pilgrimages keep the pantheon alive, translating metaphysics into a calendar, and the loop returns to the beginning. To rule the sky is to rule the heart. Administering decrees is cultivating character. Thus, the cycle closes on the wingless ruler, who reigns because the community chooses to obey.